In this video, we'll talk a little bit about the color spectrum and complementary colors and the color wheel, right? So the RGB color wheel, right? Our primary colors of red, green, and blue we talked about. Mixing any two of the primaries together yields a secondary color. So if I mix a green light with a blue light, I arrive at a cyan. If I mix blue with red, I get magenta. And if I mix red with green, I get amber or yellow. And you can see the three different sources here, a red light, a green light, and blue light, and where they overlap creates a secondary. Where all three overlap, it moves to white, or it creates a white light. So when we think about color as on the color wheel, a complementary color is colors that are directly adjacent to one another. And on the color wheel, things that are directly adjacent, red is directly adjacent from cyan. Cyan is a secondary color made up of blue and green. The result of a red light and a cyan light mixing together will yield white. You can think of that I have red and blue and green because blue and green together make up cyan. At any point along the color wheel that we are using opposite colors that are opposite on the color wheel, we will mix to a white light in the middle, right? So green against magenta is going to yield white. Some color harmonies. We have spoken about complementary colors, colors that are directly opposite one another on the color wheel. And we've indirectly spoken about tridactic color, right? So our three primaries, red, green, and blue, if we have all three of those will mix to white. We could also talk about split complementary colors, which is going to be a color that is on one point of the color wheel, and then directly opposite, we split into two colors that are near to this secondary color. This is not as useful in lighting, but it is a color scheme to maybe keep in mind a little bit. Analogous colors, we actually use that where I wind up with a family of colors that may be near to one another. But again, this may not be quite as useful in lighting as others. And I'll be back with more on the color spectrum in just a few minutes.